Camera speeding.
Sound speeds.
And action.
Oh, that's recording.
Yeah.
Oh, we're recording on the camera too.
Everybody's recording.
Uh-oh.
Everybody's recording, so you can start us off.
All right, then. Welcome to the Urban Pebble Podcast.
Woohoo! Oh, and you can also hit applause.
All right. Oh, wait.
Second one down.
Yes.
Yay!
There
I
we go.
learned. I've improved.
And you have to stop it or the people will
Or you can fade
clap
out.
forever.
You can hit it again,
okay.
and then bring the dial down, and it'll fade it out.
Oh.
Or
Well,
you
let's bring it back up for Daniel.
Yay! Oh. I think it just
Well,
cut off. It was like,
well.
bye now. You don't get applause.
No more.
You've had enough.
Too good for too long.
Well, yeah, welcome to the Urban Pebble Podcast. We have, it's the place where we talk about indie film in Chicago and try to learn from wonderful people in the industry. And we have one of those wonderful people here today, Daniel Mashburn.
Woo! More applause.
Now I got it.
Yeah. Okay. Oh.
Who, Daniel also, for the record, is a big part of making the podcast regularly. He's one of the hosts on here, as well as the camera man behind the scenes.
Yes. Thank you, Daniel.
There, I got a monitor off screen. I can see my beautiful face. We're
It's
good
so
to go.
cool.
I'm looking at the monitor now. In fact, I think I'm just going to record the monitor monitoring because
I know the monitor's monitoring.
we're monitoring
Oh, that's
the
monitors,
monitor.
and we're filming.
Yeah.
The monitor is monitoring. Oh, gosh. I've just made something for you to put in this.
Wonderful. More work as I edit.
So sorry.
Amen.
Apologize. It was a good idea until I thought about it.
No, I know we've been, because we're all part of Film in a Bag Productions, our production company, and we've been getting more and more equipment, which is the most fun thing to do as a filmmaker, I feel, is the little gadgets you get along the way, and that monitor is brand new and so much fun.
I'm very pro gadget, as you know, as a DP and director. If any kind of rigging solution or new lens, new monitor, all about it.
Go gadget. There's a song, right? Go gadget something.
Wait, no.
Inspector Gadget?
Inspector Gadget,
Oh.
right?
Inspector Gadget.
Okay,
And now we
good.
get demonetized.
No, erase.
Just
Cover
kidding.
it with more applause.
Yes.
I need to stay away from that. I don't know why I was
Me
given
too.
the power. So the big one too, as you introduced yourself as a director, because you are now officially a director
Yeah, no.
of short film.
Yeah, so I've directed documentaries and advertising commercials before. But yeah, last week I made my directorial debut on set, making a short film with you guys. And the short film's called Makeup Sex. It's a small little piece that we did together with our friend Sarah Kopp, who was on our previous episode. And yeah, it was just really fun to come together, and I never thought that my directorial debut would be on a film called Makeup Sex.
That checks out, I feel. In the long term. How did that project come about? Maybe, I know Teresa can also talk a bunch to this too.
Honestly, Teresa, if you want to take it away, because I wouldn't even be on the project without Teresa organizing it.
Right. So we were on actually another project. We were doing a different job for our production company, and I got a phone call from Sarah Kopp, and she was like, "Hey, I have this script. Would you be interested in making it?" And I was like, "What's your availability in the next week and a half?" And she was like, "Oh, very, very soon making it." And I was like, "Yep, that's the window we have. Let's make it in the next week and a half. If we can do that, then we can make it." And she was like, "Okay, I'm going to email you the script tonight. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to find the person that I'm going to star next to. Like, she's going to be in it." So Sarah stars in it. She helped write it. Well, it's her original idea. And then Daniel helped write it too. So directorial debut. You also get a writing credit too, sir. So it's a lot of fun. But yeah, basically it was a phone call that made this happen, set it up, and then Daniel took it away.
Which
Yeah.
I also want to throw out was the thing I caught while we were on set there too was on our last podcast, she talked about her first time trying a comedy script.
That's right.
And that was the script of Makeup Sex, which I was like, wait, we heard the story. We got to do it.
Yes,
All
that's so
together.
true. So you heard it here first. She took an acting class and then was encouraged to keep writing because of the script. And it was originally envisioned as a piece that would play on Zoom. So a conversation between two people, pretty static. But Daniel came in and did some other things.
Yeah, the basic premise, without giving too much away, was just an argument that stems from a very good place between a pretty new couple. And then I really love the concept. Our DP really loved the concept. Honestly, everyone was super into it. The only thing that I felt that it needed was just breathing room, because I think there was very funny bits, but it was all within 2 pages. And a 2-minute short film can be awesome, but I think this one just needed a little more breathing room, added a few more scenes, a little bit more depth. And I got to try out a shot I've been wanting to do for about 4 years. So, coming to a theater near you, we shot, not a crazy thing, but it's a fridge shot. So you see it in a ton of movies and TV shows where you open up a fridge door, you see the characters, you get a little glimpse from kind of the outside looking in. And I've always wanted to do that, but not willing to put my camera in a fridge. But thank God Teresa and her wonderful allowing us to put her GoPro in the fridge. We were able to make that work. And honestly, looking at the footage recently, I really love how it's turning out. It's not even color graded yet. And I think there can be a lot of cool decisions with that specific shot because it's the only one that we didn't colorize on purpose because we want to be able to add post color. So if we want to make it blue or red to accentuate some of those emotions that are going on the scene, we now have the ability to do that. And I'm just really excited to honestly have that in the movie, and if it doesn't make it in the movie, I'm gonna put it in the blooper reel.
No,
I don't know, like so.
It has to.
I
It's too
think it'll
cool
be
of
in
a
the
shot.
movie. We were so excited.
Yeah.
It's also I got to say, does my fridge really look like that? Is that what it
Yeah,
looks
we
like?
got to. I feel like there's the magic age-old question that scientists have asked for years: is what does the fridge light stay on when you shut
Yeah.
the fridge?
So I
What's
was
it
like,
look
oh my
dark?
gosh, the fridge light stays on. And then I was told, no, we just put a light in your fridge.
Which we then left in the fridge.
For like
It was a very
4
chilly
hours.
Yeah,
light.
we pulled that light out. It was so cold. It felt natural. You're like, oh, it's just a fridge light.
Hey, you know what? At least our fridge works. That's what I'm taking away from this.
Well, because we were lighting that shot, and we really liked how cool it was when you open up the door and then the light comes and the exposure happens. But it's so uncontrolled. And then when our DP Nick and I were talking about it, we're like, we could just post, like just add a fade out effect. That's such a simple thing. Like even me as a baby editor could do it. So we're like, yeah, let's just like have it really well lit. It's gonna look the same every time you open and close it. And like I said, I was just super jazzed. I was able to sell him on it. I sent him a photo from my shot deck, be like, hey, this is kind of what I'm thinking about. And he already put like 30 or 40 minutes into like prepping that shot before I had even a chance to talk to him about it. So I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool when like two creatives who see a piece differently can agree on like, oh, this is a really cool spot no matter how we want the vision to come together.
I love that. And so how did it feel being on set, being a director?
I'll say this, probably one of the best directorial debuts I think I've seen within the indie film, not just within mine.
Wow. Okay.
I think it's
The
bold.
bar
All right.
was-
If you think about it,
Hi.
every set we've been on, we've been such a scrappy team. Like we've been struggling for gear, people, or like just having something work. But we had brand new monitors, brand new lenses. We had all this gear that was working. I didn't have to work a camera, which was pretty cool because every time I've done documentary work or ad work that I'm directing, I'm also the DP or a co-DP, just making sure it works. And it was cool just to have even a monitor like off screen, reviewing the footage, being able to see it all happen, especially when we were shooting like door scenes where I couldn't see what the actor was on the other side, but having the monitor be able to transmit to me, and I'm like, oh, cool. And then Nick was able to kind of get all the stuff with the shots, and I don't know, it was just really surreal to feel like a big time thing for my first like indie film directing.
Oh, you so fancy.
No, it's true. It's like I remember when we started out, even on my camera that we're shooting on now, not nearly as well set up as it is now. And those are those small gadgets and trinkets and new monitors and even new technology that we weren't able to access before getting some of this equipment.
Yeah, well, I know, like, I think one thing that always stands out to me is, like, the five of us have been on these sets so many times and working together and, like, learning new equipment each time and learning each other's equipment. And, you know, some people have specialties in one thing and then are dipping their toe in another thing. And it just kind of leads to a set that moves so much faster and cleaner and everyone knows how to set everything up. And I felt like it was, like, a really efficient set, which then let us try out new equipment and do some like crazy lighting things too that were like, you know, even having the monitor be separate now allowed like tighter spaces to be shot in because you don't need the director right there looking over the monitor and you can just like be setting everything up. And I don't know, it was just like so cool, like building that space out, being able to build so many like cool lighting diffusion setups and really create like these cool effects. And then also just like work so fast as a team. And this was like, I think Film in a Bag's like first major short film, like narrative style that we've gotten to do.
I think it's interesting because I think, at least in my background, we've built a lot of our films previously that we've made from the story. and we're like, okay, this is the story. I feel passionate about the characters. I feel passionate about the acting. I feel like the story. And then I think it's fun to almost take it and flip it and be like, here's our equipment, and we can build it based on the capabilities, the equipment, a shot I'd like to get, and just let, like, basically we trust Sarah so much that the acting and the story that you guys built, that was already enough. And so it's sort of like we can put our attention into this new aspect or this other aspect and really perfect, like, the angles, the shots, the way that the lighting is hitting. And I think it's just a different way to interact with film than like we've historically done it as Urban Pebble. And so it's fun to like take that up to the next level with Film in a Bag.
Yeah, I think it allows you the ability to plan for the edit. And I think that sometimes in indie filmmaking, you're just planning to get it shot. And it's like, there's cool shots that we could come up on the fly, but like really saying like, oh, this would be a really cool transition, so I should shoot this scene like 2 different ways or something along those lines. And even we were doing that on set, and I think we started, an hour and a half late, and we still only ended 2 hours late, which I think is a pretty good success on like
But
a
to
film
be
set.
fair, we'd never used some of the equipment we were using,
Yeah.
and that was the reason we wanted to shoot this film.
And that's the only reason we were late. Like, and even the actors who were on set, Carson Fox Harvey, he was super impressed with us just because he's like, wow, you guys are moving so fast and so quick. And this was truly a test day. Like, these were new lenses, new monitors, hell, even new cables. Like, we were using the SDI to be able to transmit signal. And it's like everything was new. And then on top of that, we had to then tackle an idea that we'd never done before, which was like time syncing something. And so that was a pretty big endeavor between Teresa, Adam, and I sitting down. Sitting down.
Keep your eyes peeled for some of the behind the scenes stuff from that film too, because you might get a little peek into some of the like, what button do I press? Oh my god, why doesn't it show up? Where did it go? And then we found it.
Yeah, I think getting a new camera, getting a new monitor, whatever, it's always going to be a learning curve. And even after a full year of being a camera guy, I still feel like there's a ton to learn on my camera, because I think that I have perfected doing what I need to with it, what I'm currently doing, and I want to start pushing that further and further, because this camera is like a powerhouse. It is a small workhorse, can get everything done. It's not really anything special, but it's like you can shoot for Netflix on it, and that's just something really cool to me that I haven't even pushed it that far yet.
For the folks at home, what camera do you have?
Oh yeah, so for any camera nerds out there, I shoot on the Panasonic Lumix Beat GH1, just discontinued for their new AW series, which is the same camera, just a little bit better. But like I said, the cheapest Netflix approved camera, even compared to like some $40,000-$30,000 Aris that shoot in 3K that upscales to 6, because Netflix has a really big tendency to say, no, unless it's a documentary, it better be 4K minimum.
Which that is what this wide shot is being shot on right now. Not the close up on your beautiful face, but
Yes, check out the footage.
Oh no, I love it. I think like the coolest part of film, not the coolest, maybe, I don't know. There's a lot of cool parts to film, but a really fun part is the behind the scenes and all the gadgets you get to play with, and like really like each thing you get, like whether it's a shoulder rig or like a new monitor or even just new audio equipment, it opens up so many doors to new creativity where you're like, oh, this was something I didn't even know we could do before. Like like the fridge shot we couldn't do until we had a GoPro, and then suddenly that opens that up and has opened like different time lapse options that we've used in things.
There's a time lapse happening right now with the GoPro. Now that I've mentioned it,
I'm gonna have to add that.
You're gonna have to
that's
add
just
it
more
in.
editing work for me.
We're just gonna have like picture in picture, and everyone's like, "What's going on? This is a podcast." It's like, yes, but no.
Sorry.
Oh, it's all good. But yeah, no, I love that you get to like, because it's almost overwhelming at times, because like you have your camera and you're like testing your camera and doing all these things like you're saying, and then it's like, and then if I upgraded it to like add on this thing and this attachment, and then it becomes this, and then I could change this, and it just kind of can never stop, and then that's all just one camera where you're like, oh, but what if I switch to this camera? Then I open,
It is funny because a lot of the discussions that I have with like Nick, we were doing a thing yesterday at a different job, and we were just talking about all these exciting upgrades. And it's like you get gear like you're talking about, and then you push that gear sort of like to its limit, and then then you want to grow. It's not like we became filmmakers to stagnate. It's like you're always pushing yourself. And whatever stage or phase you're at, the pushing looks a little different. And it might be like we were just talking about, taking like, oh, I want to make this, like it just has to be made, to now I want to use this shot or try this equipment or do this. And so like we're always pushing ourselves too, but at every stage it's looked a little different what the pushing is.
Yeah, and I know that was one thing we talked about early on with a lot of our films, which is kind of fun. Like as you go through the Urban Pebble page, you can kind of build a little history of.
Please watch our history.
Yes, watch our films.
Watch our films.
But
watch
a lot
our
of them,
art
like
over time.
they first started like I know like Doors was something that the thing we were testing wasn't really equipment. It was just, can we make a short film? Was like Miles and I were talking about that, and we're like, can we just do this? Can we? Mm-hmm. And that was the goal of that one. While later ones were like I think Supply Run was more like, let's play with the like a second camera moving around with like that was like more shaky action and stuff, which I know the Conglomerate did a lot of as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And that was like pushing that technique further. And it was
you have a lot of like here's a script, now let's try an improv thing, and let's try that. Like we've tried different aspects of film and pushed ourselves at those moments, because again we had limitations, technical limitations, ability limitations, time limitations, money limitations.
But it is like each time I love getting to try normally try like one new thing where it's like, we've
had to limit ourselves.
Yes, because it's hard, because you're like,
that was a learned lesson.
Let's do an improvised film, and we'll try this new camera, and we'll also do this like on fire. It doesn't work like that. But then if you're like, okay, we know how this equipment works. We tested it, the new equipment on this last shoot. Now this time we can try a different style of acting or something, or a bigger cast, or moving shots, or whatever it is,
or offload like a second location, or like filming as opposed to like filming in the area we live. We're gonna go someplace and film.
Yeah, because literally travel is a part of it. Is like you're like, how does this function via travel, or how does that change things? I know we did a shoot in Utah a while back, and that I was on, and the thing we didn't expect that happened was that the air pressure change caused the batteries to inflate. So then we couldn't close like the battery on the gimbal that we were using. So it was like functionally useless after that point, because it was just like, oh, this can't close. The battery just falls out.
Oh, jeez.
For 2 seconds. So it's like, but you would never think that unless you're like, but we're trying something new, which is we haven't filmed here before. There will be variables.
Yeah, and I think that we're getting better and better at planning for that. Because I'd say the biggest problem that Film in the Bag has had is a great problem, is like we're outgrowing ourselves like pretty quickly. So it's like, all right, now how do we future-proof ourselves a little bit? And I think we've done that pretty successfully in like our professionalism, but also just in like the amount of, or the quality of gigs that we are now able to get and shoot, just based on the upgrades we have made to meet a current shoot that's happening soon. Then what does that mean for our personal projects or following like projects that we have working on, right? So then we can now apply everything that we're learning that has been paid for by a client to things that we just personally love, whether it's like films we're working on currently, ones that we have ideas for the future, or even things that our friends are doing, just because we don't always have to be the ones who write it, but we love to be behind the camera.
That's something that I'm learning as a filmmaker, is filmmakers make films. They don't have to necessarily write them. They don't have to necessarily like do the part, like be in them even. But I'm getting a lot of joy recently from just like, making the shoots happen and sort of organizing the spaces where people can create and play. And I think that, it's broadened my conception of like, what is it to be a filmmaker in a way? And it's like, oh, you see, like when you have an idea and you don't necessarily have a big group of people who are as dedicated to working, it's a lot of work to make a film happen. It's a lot of organizing. It's a lot of asking people for favors and time. And then now I think what we're discovering is we've built sort of the professional life component that's in addition to our collective and our creative component to sort of further. They're like starting to work a little hand in hand, and now we're able to make other people's ideas come to life in a way that we had spent so much time trying to make our ideas come to life previously. I don't know. I think it's really cool. I feel very like, oh my goodness, we're creating a lot more art and community now all of a sudden. So it's great.
Hell, even before walking in to record this podcast, we were talking with the building owner who owns this lovely studio and lets us use it. And she even approached us saying that she has a short film that she's working on, 5 minutes long tops, like really quick and funny. And they're like, yeah, I have this like DP lined up for it, but if he doesn't want to do it because he's dragging his feet, do you? Like, I'm like, oh, I would love to like talk about it. And if she like wants us to do it, shoot me over the script. I'd love to like just take a crack at it because it seems like a lot of fun. Won't reveal any details actually. But I think that there's things that I would love to do in that just for my own personal growth, but having someone who already has the idea and it can just be a technical know-how, I kind of love that now because I think before when I got into indie film, I felt like I needed control of everything. Like I needed to be a part of the writing room. I needed to be in the camera department. I needed to like have a final say in this, but it's like at a certain point, that's very exhausting. Like not even like physically at certain points. It's
necessary
emotional.
at first.
Yeah.
It's super necessary to have like the ability to say all those things and have all that control. I think when you're just starting, but I think as you start making the connections and starting to trust the people that you're working with, it's like, well, I don't need control over that. I trust Adam to make all those decisions and I can just cheer on from a corner.
Move.
Yeah, well, I don't know. But it's yeah, I think that's been one of the benefits of sort of building this our professional component, the film in a bag component, that's sort of like basically supporting and like propping up our artistic journeys. It's like, I trust you guys completely to make these visions come to life. And now I can tell you some of my little silly ideas. We could probably make them and make them really beautiful and fun in a way where it would have been a real slog to just get everybody on board. And sort of like if you're marching and trying to lead the whole band yourself, conducting and playing all the instruments. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm like professionally passionate about everything, and I'm personally passionate about a few other things. Just because I don't know, like directing Makeup Sex, right? So even going in, writing that, directing it, it felt very easy in a weird way. Just be like, oh wow, this is like natural flowing because we're able to kind of like piecemeal off things. We're having like a DP. I'm like, all right, cool. This is my vision of the shot list. Here, go take it. Like kind of morph what you need it to be. Because I knew I didn't want to be on camera for this shoot, and I knew I wanted one of our business partners, Austin Millett, to make his DP debut. Because I'd been teaching him, and then Adam, well, everyone has been teaching him just a little bit about filmmaking overall. And my big thing was like, all right, cool. We only need one camera for this shoot, but I would love to just to have the ability to, one, do multiple angles at the same time, save time that way, but also get someone who's within the company that, like I said, we're growing, learning, teaching one another, to now, I think he feels very confident, or at least moderately confident.
I bet he'd tell you the truth. Be like, Austin, how do you feel? I feel like I should get him on the phone and be like, now you have to edit this in. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Austin, record yourself.
But yeah, just stuff like that where we're able to kind of, I don't know, it's a good feeling to be able to specialize in something, be a part of the process where you want to be a part of it, and then still have the implicit and explicit trust in one another. Whether that's someone who's learning, someone who's like an expert, like I have hearing damage, and so I do not trust my ear as the final say on audio. It's not even but that's true. And so I will always ask other people because I constantly have a ringing in my ear. So there's never any point in time where I am 100% confident in what I am hearing. But if someone's like, oh, it's a little buzzy or whatever, I'm like, all right, cool. How do we fix that? Because I can't tell. But something like Adam is able to tell me that, or even Teresa when we're kind of like monitoring audio. So it's like one of those limitations. Even me physically, I can't like contribute in a way just because like I can't. I don't know. I don't have the equipment, and I can't get it upgraded.
Oh no.
And I think with that, we're gonna take a little break.
Little break.
Dun, 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 dun.
Hey, if you're into improv, Adam and I have a part dog show at the Bug House Theater on Saturday at 7:30 on June 28th. Come and check us out. Have some laughs. I don't know. It'll be fun. You get a break. You get a break. You get a break. Now we're back from break.
That's the Back from Break song.
No, it's funny because Austin says that I sing songs to the dogs that we have, and he calls them Ma songs. And the key feature of a song that I would sing is the repetitiveness. Like, it's like one line, 5 different ways.
5 different ways. 5 different ways.
Reminds me of the Songify guy who's like, I'm going to sing these like this one song in 20 different styles.
Well, except mine's like just how my brain's put together, and it's not gonna. I couldn't do 20 if I tried.
I get it. I have ADHD, so that's all the time.
I love to sing.
You don't have to put that part in.
I could though. Now that I have the power,
Oh,
that'll be
sure.
payment
We're
for
not-
the time lapses.
Oh, that's the revenge for the time lapses.
We're actually not going to put it in, but it is going to be the pull-out video. You're like, when does this happen in the episode?
Never.
No.
It just doesn't. Right, Adam? It doesn't.
Yes.
Oh! We need to hit one of the buttons that sounds like a...
It's
Not
this one.
that
This
one.
is.
That's the fairy one. Oh, that's the...
Oh, that's a cricket.
We want the sci-fi sounding one, I think, when you turn your head. That's the one.
Well, speaking of science fiction, which is my only transition into this, we've been talking a bunch about upgrades. Out of curiosity, are there any like future tech upgrades that you like dream of like getting, or at one point? It doesn't have to be realistic right now. But.
I want like an actual like easy rig or a Steadicam system, like one of the expensive like $6,000 to $8,000 ones. Just because when I was working,
He's got good taste.
in the ad industry for a big company, we always had one on set, and we were shooting like in the mountains of Utah, in like the Sedona deserts, like stuff like that, where like you couldn't really put sticks on the ground realistically to get the shots we needed, and doing dolly stuff was almost as equally as impossible. But having that backpack or the kind of the rib cage rig allows you to go on the trail and get really stunning footage, allows you to get really cool pan shots that you can't normally get in those areas. Like hell, I think out of those documentaries I shot, there was maybe like 2 or 3 of them that we used sticks, and it's only the ones that the people had a facility, because then we could go to their facility, set up in a room, do whatever. But when we were out on the trails and doing stuff, it was all easy rig.
We love trails.
Didn't you have an incident on the snow trail?
Yeah, so I was shooting, I want to say it was, was it 2021, 2022? I forget the year, but yeah, we're out in the Wasatch Mountains, and right before flying out there to Salt Lake City, we got 8 inches of snow. We're like, okay, like whatever. The day before shooting, we got 16 inches of snow. So 2 feet of snow within a 2-day period. And we're like, all right, whatever. There was already 3 feet of snow before we flew in. So this is just a massive amount of buildup, right? And they're like, oh, we're going to go shoot out there. We'll have snowshoes on. It's whatever, because they're kind of used to it. The crew is pretty local besides my camera crew and myself that went along. We were from Chicago, but everyone else is pretty much local. So we get out there, and our guy who's a DP, he's actually from California. He's like, oh yeah, like give me some snowshoes. And he's a big dude, like bigger than me. And we call him Bear, and I love him to death. Honestly, probably now if you're looking at this Bear, you're probably skinnier than me. So good job. I love the fitness journey you're on. But so he's going in there, and he stays on the trail. He stays exactly where the guide told him to be. And we get a really cool shot of our talent down by the river collecting a water sample, and this whole about like saving water and stuff in Utah. And he's coming back to the trailer just to drop off the camera and stuff and break for lunch. He takes one step and then goes 6 feet down, like all the way down. And he's wearing the backpack, so he like throws his hands in the air as he's sinking rapidly, so the camera doesn't get dunked in like 6 feet of snow. And so he falls all the way back, camera in the air, and he's like, did anyone get that? Did anyone get that? Because as a camera person, he wants his fails in a blooper reel, because he does actually have that for his portfolio of like just times where he's kind of fucked up and like done other things. But whatever, it's like, no, we were trying to make sure you were okay, and also you have like a $80,000 rig on your shoulder, so, you know, like a $20,000 camera, and you're like a $30,000 lens package. Like it starts adding up to where you're like, oh no.
Oh no.
Oh, I guess that's why you have insurance on set.
Yeah.
That's got to be the saddest thing ever, is when there's the camera crew is all there and no one gets your wipeout on camera.
We have a story about that.
Yes, we do.
We were filming for a horse show, and a barn, and a local Chicagoland barn was having us film a commercial for them. And we were going to film one of the riders on a horse, and we were walking towards the rider as they were warming up in the arena. And lo and behold, next thing we know is the rider's on the ground. We're literally walking with the camera pointed towards this whole experience. Were we recording?
No, it's so sad because the camera was pointed at it too. And the first thing she asked, she's like, "Did you
catch
get it?"
that? Did you catch that? And we were like, No.
Like, no, we're just sitting here stunned with an off camera.
Yeah.
Well, I think we just got done shooting something, like specifically, and then Nick hit cut, and then he was trying to like focus in or use the aperture to get the lighting right, and then it happened like just so fast.
And it was funny because so Nick and I were actually shooting more for this barn yesterday, and that was one of the things that everybody was talking about. They're like, okay, so if somebody's gonna fly off a horse, like you need to catch that. We want to get it. Like it's still a talking point, even all these months later. So
Need it.
I need it. I was like, okay, all right, everybody, we'll do our best.
Someone get me a dongle. I need to plug in.
Dongle away, dongle away.
But no, yeah, I've had a lot of funny stories like that on set, and then and that was like even before I was a filmmaker. I was just still a writer.
So what brought you, like, when was the point that you were like, I want to be a filmmaker?
I'm curious too.
I don't know. Like, I would say, like, in college, I was going to be an engineer. That was, like, the whole dream, the whole goal. And I decided math was too hard.
Great engineering things that you've done, for, like organizational and like the way
rigging
that
and stuff like
rigging.
that,
I mean,
yeah.
the way that this camera is.
Yeah, no,
Anyway.
so like I started there, and then I figured I'm like I just want to tell stories. Like I like at the time I'm like I'm very funny. I'm 18 years old. I've lived a life longer than most people in their 30s at that time, and I'm like I just kind of want to tell stories. And I got into writing. I did that for a while. I worked in a record label for a little bit, doing music rep stuff, and I'm like, oh, like that's kind of fun. I was in a band for a bit. I was a rapper for a bit. Like I was literally just bouncing my way across different creative spectrums. And then once I became a copywriter for like advertising and commercials, I was on set all the time. Like literally like clockwork every 2 to 3 months, I was flying out somewhere new, like Fire Island, New York, or Sedona, Arizona, like in these cool places, just working with all these like people. And whether they were the DP, the assistant camera, the gaffer, the rigger, everyone wanted to teach me something because I was so enthralled by it. And I always take pride in knowing what everyone does, not because I want to do what they do, but I appreciate what they do. And so learning what someone does is such a great thing, I guess, because I never realized it was something like endearing. I just did it because like I genuinely was interested, and people were like, no one ever asked me because I'm just
You're
a
a
grip.
great teacher too. I have to say that I think one of the most fun things about working with you, Daniel, and Nick too, because he's also very generous with his knowledge. But it's like I learned something every single time. I learned something about a camera. I learned something about a lens. I learned something about a thought process behind how something is put together. I love that too. So from someone else who really enjoys learning, heck yeah.
Because I think that's like a nod in, it's a very special thing because I think there's a lot of gatekeeping sometimes on sets. And I've seen even people just like for no reason add lingo in and stuff that's like just to confuse someone it'll be like, can you move that mic closer to your face? And you're like, can you extend the armature at the second knob to increase audio capacity? And you're like,
No,
what? And it's like, just move the mic closer to your face is like, and then you could teach and be like, oh, if I really want you to know that terminology. This is why I said that or something. But a lot of people are just like, no, if I confuse you, then I'm smart. And
I think it's a journey thing, right? I think no one wants to admit it, but no one wants anyone's journey to be easier than theirs when they had a hard time coming up. And I think film is a really bad breeding ground for that because there's a ton of horror stories in film. I think there's probably 10 to 1 for good to horror stories in film. It all comes down to like, well, I had to do it that way, or it was this hard, so now we have to like do this to you.
I think it's most professions have a little bit of that because even I'm thinking about my experience in graduate school. I felt very put upon by like, oh, the people who came before me, they fought a fight to be in the positions where they are. And then they kind of took it out on the next generation of people coming through. And I think it's trauma.
Like, the way I describe it is I do think that you should know how to do math on paper, but I don't expect you to do it because you have a calculator in your pocket at all times, right? So I think when I'm teaching someone, even our intern, right? So I am not going to be putting shit on her just so she has to have a hard upbringing or it's going to give her character. I just feel like this is how you have to operate. Like, this is like, you need to know how to do this at a core level and you can never do it again. Like I told her, like as long as you're willing to have that mentality, you'll be fine because it's how you get favors from people by like knowing what they do, being interested, asking to learn, like not expecting someone to do something for you just because you know them. I think that's where a lot of those bad favors and bridges get burned where you're like, especially early in your film career, you're going to be naive and have all these like different things you learn. In the last year, I think I've aged 10 years when it comes to filmmaking. There's just a few characters that have really pushed me both in negative and positive ways. And I thank all the parties involved, regardless of how much I like to jokingly bitch about it. I do think I've learned a lot of lessons, and if I can help alleviate some of the hard lessons learned for like a Katie of the world or any of these people we meet at Filmmaker Fridays, why not? Because then those people want to be on set with you. They're willing to be a free PA or use their $40,000 camera so you can get one shot. Like just those things that they're so just inviting. I even met a filmmaker recently. His name's Arseni. Really good dude. He shoots on Super 8 film. I really want to shoot on film. He's already told me, he's like, if you pay for the film, I'll let you use my camera. And so having access to a film camera it's weird. In like the modern era, it's unheard of. You're like, oh, I have to go buy this thing. I have to learn how to shoot. I have to learn how to do exposure on it. And he's like, no, I'll just teach you. Like I have like a really easy workaround. And like, why would anyone share that with you if they're not also passionate about what they're doing? And I don't think he would have shared that with me if I didn't tell him like, I really want to do this. Because it's not like he pushed it. He's like, oh, you should shoot on film. I'm like, no, I really want to shoot on film. And he just offered it. He's like, cool. And when I have a little bit of money saved up, I am going to probably go out and buy some film and then put a little side for processing. Because he told me, he's like, yeah, when you're shooting, it's great. You have all this fun on set. It's going to be a few weeks until you get to look at it. Wow. So like you have to be very confident in what you're doing.
That's so cool.
Or do what he does. He shoots with a really low res camera and the film camera. So you can set the exposure on one. He's shooting with the film one. And then he can review super low quality footage while he's waiting for the film to get developed. And I'm like, that's a life hack. That's crazy. That's I don't know. Good. It's just like stuff like that. And that was a 20-minute conversation, 30-minute conversation.
I'm just saying, like, being a decent human and sort of, being nice to folks really does pay. I mean, you probably hear it all the time in most industries. It's sort of like you never know where someone will end up, or you never know where someone is going to be. And so you try to be kind to folks. I think that in this industry, in our Chicago environment, like kindness, interest, generosity, it goes a long way and it's noticed.
Yeah, well, that was like a lot of why we started Urban Pebble as a collective too, was just like creating some more of that space where we can all just help each other out. Everybody's learning. That's why we're doing the podcast too, is so that we can continue to learn. Other people can learn what we learn. And there's something magic, I still think, in Chicago of like because there's not necessarily the level of finance backing for like big movie projects as there are in like New York or LA or Atlanta or something like that. There's this other community that comes together and it's everybody's trying. People are writing like crazy original things. People are working so hard to like learn all these different camera techniques, network, talk to people, try get things made. So, and everyone's just willing to work together. And there's all the technical parts and all the things, but at some point film has this magic of you're trying to create this art together, and there's people who sometimes run sets where like you have to do what I have to do, like that, but then there's some people who can really bring in even like the side crew who might not necessarily need to be involved in the creative vision, but then once they are, there is like this magic that comes and they get to spring their ideas. And I don't know, it's just this beautiful thing that when you see it happen, everyone lights up, and people are in this industry for a reason. It's just so cool.
I think there is like a certain magic in that, and that's what gets projects made. Like it truly is just that willingness. Even Nick Cartwright, our DP on Makeup Sex, we were joking around that excluding May, over the last like 4 months, him and I have been on set for an independent film. Like we shot a spy thriller together where I was the assistant director on it, and he was the director and DP, and then or technically one of the DPs, whatever. Then we shot a dystopian, like future style, like, short film that's being edited right now. And then we just shot Makeup Sex, which is more of a comedy. So like vastly different things, but it was all being brought on by projects other people already had in the works, whether it was Sarah with a script or Nick's buddy Nick with a script, and he had all the gear. We're actually still using some of his gear because he doesn't want it back. He's like, oh no, I have no room for it. Just use it when I need it. I'll get it from you. And that's been a huge help for us because it's like, cool, that's like 4 extra lights, which doesn't seem like a lot. Every extra light is something new and unique you can do. And I think even we couldn't get some of our lights to work to do this like special TV effect. So we used one of those small rig lights and we set it to like the TV monitor randomization. And then as we were shooting some of our film for Makeup Sex, and
it looks really cool.
Yeah, Teresa, actually, we're going to credit her as TV because technically she was the TV light for at least 2 scenes.
I turned it on. Then when the remote turned it off, whoop, I turned it off. How about that, Apples?
I forget who the other one was. We'll call them Assistant TV.
It was Austin. Austin also helped out.
Austin Millett, Assistant TV 1.
Put that on the business card.
Yeah, and Smoke Boy, even though we didn't have any smoke this time.
Boy.
Just
Yeah,
always-
Wait, can you talk about Smoke Boy for a second? 'Cause
That's just a funny concept.
So springboarding from this past film being my first directorial debut, about a year ago, I worked on a short film with Adam and a few other filmmakers from Urban Pebble called Left Brain versus Right Brain. And we had this really cool idea, Adam and I, of bringing kind of like 80s sci-fi to the whole vibe, because the concept was cool stoner film, blah, 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 gets too high. But the way you get to express that is a physical character playing left brain and right brain, like two people playing off each other. So Adam and I built this huge like board and all this other stuff.
It was so fun. By the way, that was like the best, where we just like, we ran around because we both do arts, and we like dumpster dived, like dumpster dove around Chicago. We found all these like tubings. We found like one was a lot of long cardboard tubing that we then spray painted silver and like gave a little effects to, so that it looked like metal piping in an old, Godzilla film kind of, or old Twilight Zone-y. Like, it was really fun.
How does that footage look? Does it look cool?
Yeah.
Did it turn out?
No, it looks fantastic in the rough cut that it was in, but yeah, so Adam and I found these like tubes, right? So
excited.
We were throwing them for like a plate shot, so it kind of looks like everything's falling apart, but what is 80s sci-fi without a bunch of like fake smoke coming from the board because things are going wrong? But we were on a budget. We shot the entire movie, including Crafty, for probably $150, like total, and that includes printing stickers and props and hey, we didn't give the people, feeding people,
Or
like,
not feeding people.
But like just stuff like that, where we're like, oh wow, we shot this really cost effective, and there was no way to buy a smoke machine. There was no way to even rent one, just because like the cost was prohibitive. And so my brother used to be a really big like Subaru Vapor, like like that huge rig. And so he stopped smoking a few years ago, and I'm like, hey, can I just have that? He's like, why do you want it? I'm like, oh, I need it for a smoke rig, so I can kind of make practical effects. And he's like, sure. So did that, and I was smoking like a low nicotine vapor the entire time. So all the smoke shots in that movie are me.
Our Daniel. It's Daniel.
And I think by take 6 or 7 between multiple scenes, I was starting to get like a head rush, just because so you have to inhale that to like make the rig actually work, and getting these huge plumes, because when I shot out smoke, it almost enveloped like the entire frame. So when the actors were interacting with it, they were actually physically pulling like the smoke away from their faces, which it looks
great.
really good. And I don't think you could necessarily recreate that for the budget that we did it on.
No, and then there was like one point, because like something happens and a pipe goes loose, and we had one of those metal cardboard pipes that was like loose, like a broken pipe. We made it look, and then you blew through the other end off screen, so it was spitting out smoke in the background. It felt like something out of like an old Universal thing. I loved it. It was.
That's so funny.
Happy to say that I now no longer have to do that.
Yes.
I have the Ulanzi Filmog machine, small little smoke machine situation, and I'm like, all right, awesome, because I stopped smoking cigarettes years ago as well. So the fact that I was like nicotine vaping, even low nicotine vape, was like one of those weird rushes where you're like, oh God, I haven't felt this in quite some time.
What we do for the arts.
Yeah, you suffer for your art, even though it was just a little bit of my art at the time.
I mean, if you want to see, I think there's stuff on Urban Pebble on our Instagram. Adam, it's like a day
behind
in
the scenes.
a little behind the scenes from Left Brain versus Right Brain. And I think also when we were filming on set, I think there's I was an extra on Left Brain v Right Brain. And I think I documented the extra day of filming. So I would go check out those two little reels in the history.
Which is a nice way to plug our Instagram, which if you want to get more updates on films and behind-the-scenes stuff, you check out at Urban Pebble on Instagram.
Well done, Adam.
Look
well
at that.
done.
Look at that.
Cute.
And speaking of, Daniel, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me at Mashburn Media on all major social medias, or mashburn-media.com. Or at filminabag.com. So definitely hit me up if you're looking for a project, or honestly just want to talk about a collaboration, because we're always looking for new pieces to kind of make big.
Yeah, and if you want to see any of our film production company stuff, go to at Film in a Bag on Instagram or our website, filminabag.com. But that's where we're doing a lot more of like the behind the scenes of our production things, our marketing things, and then the Urban Pebbles, where you can find all our little creative projects. And this podcast.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming in.
No, thanks for having me on. It's great to get in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Hey!
And cut. That's a wrap, everybody.